Well, hello, Super Toasties and Toasties. Happy Halloween. Sorry, brain's a little off right now. Unfortunately, we had another gee whiz family emergency yesterday morning, so brain is everywhere. Alrighty, first emergency though is being resolved. So today we're going to talk about straight lines. Now I started yesterday, and of course just as I start getting into burn, the next thing had to happen. So we are going to talk about doing straight lines. Alrighty.
Why did the mermaid pop up?
Oh, I accidentally hit the wrong button, so it popped everything up.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. So I did this with the first two. Because these are such long lines, I'm not using glass. My small piece of glass that I've used in the past, I'm actually using a metal ruler. But I made sure this is Hubcap's ruler. I mean, he already had the cork off the back, but I made sure to get all the glue off, any paint off, since I am burning next to it.
It had a lot of paint on it.
It had a lot of paint on it, so I scrubbed it. And then I have to line it up. And even this isn't long enough for this piece of wood, but it's still doable. Now with using a ruler, metal ruler, it does very much act like a heat sink. So you have to pull your pin, let it reheat, drag down some more, pull your pin, because it does pull the heat, but it doesn't get hot. So I've already done these two lines, so I'm looking, because of how this is situated, I don't want to have to figure out how to stand on my head on camera to get it. So this is the window, the window jamb at the bottom. This is the window sill. This is up against the background. But I did put some black lines in. I'm looking for them. And these are thinner. So what I'm going to do, well, we can start with, flip it back over. See what I mean about flip, flip, flip? Since this is the bottom of the windowsill here, I can go ahead and start shading. Let me get the camera way up there for you guys. Hey Sheila, hey Wanda, hey Cynthia. Happy Halloween. Now, one issue I did find, so I have to pay attention to that. Because the 18 small is so thin, it can get up beneath the ruler. So I need to work with the extra small because it is a thicker tip. We can see, let's see here, so that it doesn't get up underneath. We can see, it's hard to tell, but this is a thicker tip than this is. That's why it heats differently. But I was able to keep it from going out underneath the ruler. I'm gonna, where am I gonna pick? Because I have to hold my arm up higher and the camera's in the way, but we're gonna give it a try. So I'm gonna line it up on my line. I'm heating to 3 now because this is part of the windowsill on top. I don't want it as dark as the shadow below. And so you can see I have a dark line here. I am going to have to darken up that, but I'm not worried about it. Oh, shoot. And unfortunately, his ruler does have, my pen fell through my holder. There we go. There we go. It does have some nicks, so I have to find the best side. And I can feel it grabbing the wood here. I'm going to line it up best I can on both the top and the bottom so I can keep it lined up.
Did you say hi to everybody?
I did.
Okay.
Except for Teresa. Hey, Teresa.
Good. Happy Halloween.
Alrighty, so we're going to start up here on the top just so I can show, and then I'll bring it down so it's easier See, I was heating up to 3. 3 is too hot, so I'm going to pull it down to 2. And I have to angle the tip just slightly. Make sure.
Shirley said, do you know anything about YouTube currently blocking videos? She can't see the video screen and there's no sound.
I do not.
Does anybody else have this problem?
That is odd.
Please let us know, because it would be weird if you guys were just looking at a black screen.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially only reading chat.
This is a public live, so that shouldn't be the issue. It would be one thing if it was a members live.
I can check on my phone real quick.
Yeah, can you type to her?
I'm going to check on my phone and see if...
So I'm butting the tip right up against. I'll have Kat tries to see what's going on there, and I have it kind of turned, and I'm trying to keep it as straight as possible. Now I do have some claw there. Oh, she has ad blockers on. She doesn't. Can you type in the chat? She's got to have, unbeknownst to her, she has to have an ad blocker on. That's why. Because YouTube is cracking down on that. She may not realize she has one on. Let's see here. What is right here? Oh, this is the ghost. So we can bring the camera down, because, well, let me show you real quick, just based on what I was doing. I was able to get right up against the line. And again, I'm going to have to line it back up. He may not have intentionally, somebody else, if she's on PC, somebody else may have ad blockers on. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to our new super toasty, Michelle. See, luckily I can brace this against the bottom of my easel.
Yeah, the broadcast's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be because there's some kind of ad blocker on. So, relining it up, trying to keep it as even as possible. Because if a line is off, you will see it. It will stand out. And then you'll fight trying to get it back to even. That just makes things harder. All right, let me see. I may have to pull out a little bit. Try to alter the light.
She says she doesn't have an ad blocker installed, never had one.
Huh. Maybe log out of Google and go incognito and see if that allows. So again, I'm flat up against the ruler. Oop, that one hot. I'm going to have to blend out afterwards, but I'm just slightly turned this way in order to be right up against the ruler without being under the ruler. And you can see I can't drag as long. See, look. That's because I'm using a metal ruler. So lift. Touch down in some place not quite as burned.
She says she's been trying to get it fixed for a week. They just ignore the request.
Yeah, she needs to sign out of Google. Log out of her Google account.
Okay. I just told her that.
Alright. And see, I can touch down in a dark place, drag some heat out, but look, we can see how much the metal really pulls the heat from the tip. If we keep at it, we kind of outline it without outlining because I'm going to blend this out. It works better than using a ball tip, though if you were using a ball tip, sorry, I got to give my left arm.
Michelle Klopat Kulupak. Finally figured out the time difference and made it to live.
Yay! We're here. Now next week, because we will have a public live again next week, because we're obviously not anywhere near close to being finished with this. But for U.S. outside of Hawaii and Arizona, the time change. Oop, that one hot. The time change here happens Sunday. So, because we're in Arizona, we don't change time. Lucky us. But we do have to keep up with everybody else. So I need to shift just a bit. Keeping a good hold. And drag the ruler down. Trying to stay on that line. And drag. Angling slightly up against the ruler. And get that line in. It's a mess right now. Totally okay that it's a mess. Because this is a smaller area, I can do that. Now we have a line here that's a bit of a highlight. So that's going to be lighter than the seal right here, just to show a little bit of depth and turn. But the problem I have, I'm going to have to switch the board. I guess we'll do it down here. I guess I don't have to keep moving the camera. But I do need to angle it so it's easier for me to hold. Line up the line. Make a bunch of noise just for the fun of it, because why not? Problem with this is the ruler goes off the wood. I'm going to come up with, and see how it can very easily come up. So I'm going to have to hold hard. There we go. Hold it hard. See, now I can see I'm not lined up there. There we go. Then I got a line right there, so I need to go up. There we go. There we go. Now we're in there. I have to hold real tight. This actually, normally I don't talk about coming off the easel. Darn it. See, just a little bit of movement. But in this case, got it. If you normally burn on an easel like I do, this would be the time to pull it off the easel and burn flat. It'll just make your life so much easier and less painful. Because it is painful trying to hold. Keep everything in place and drag so upright. So it's much easier to do this flat. Now if you don't have a ruler but you've got the piece of glass, you can use that as well, but it still acts somewhat like a heat sink. So
Shirley says she doesn't think she's logged into Google. I don't know anything about incognito. I'm trying to reach Norton to see if they have done something new.
Oh.
She says, have a good live, everybody.
I'll tell her happy Halloween, and we're sorry that she will miss this. Oh, now they want to come in. Ugh. See, my arm, the shoulder and elbow are hurting because I'm pressing so hard with my left hand to hold it in place. So I'm just going to drag down. Right now, I don't care how dark it's burning. I just need to be able to see where this section is. Whew. Alright. So real quick, I'm going to give that arm a break. So we are going to kind of fill this in Let's get you guys at a better angle. Whew, there we go. So this is going to be a lighter burn area. In fact, I can go ahead, do some erasing. Get that out of there. I do want it to look a little bit like wood, but I'm not going to over freak about it. So I'm going to go right up to the line to start blending out. And then just using the top part of the tip and trying to work out and blend out my line. I do need to go back in with it like the small spoon shader just to really even it up. So right here where we've got some feet, I'm gonna get up on that tip and go around. I can clean it up later. Not gonna stress about it. And then pull down that burn so I don't have such a harsh line. Blend it out. Again, it's going to stay a mess for a little while. Shape it. But we can see how dark that area is, so I'm going to have to match that tonal, excuse me, tonal area, the rest of it to that. But luckily, and this wood, I definitely found I don't like, I like when the grain's going up and down, not long ways for my burnings. I'm just going to have to spend more time blending. And flat, just drag it down. Because this is a wider area, I could switch over to the large spear shader to get it filled in quicker. Sorry, had an itch. But I do want it to look a little bit like wood, so I need to have a little bit of the grain, because we'd see the grain on the top of a windowsill if it was stained. So drag, get some darker lines in here. I'm going to be burning over all of it. Turn some of those grains, because we see how wood grain acts. Blend down. Because I'm at such a low setting, I'm at 2, it's taking longer. You know what pen we haven't used in a long time?
What's that?
The 18 medium. Used to be my go-to. So let's give it a try and see what we think. See, that's also a thin pen. And I'm actually going to bump that up to 3.5. That's also a thin tip. So it's not going to be as good up against the ruler.
Teresa lost alive.
Oh no.
We're still up.
We're still up. We're not.
And I haven't seen any loading. So,
Okay.
So we're not buffering or anything. Yeah, it's Halloween, right? So.
You said it, Dad. Alright. So I got a pretty big splotch there. If I put other splotches, it then looks intentional. And I'm at 3.5. Remember, if you don't like something that you've done, if you do more of it, it looks like you intentionally did it.
She says it's back now.
I
think that was probably a local issue for you, Teresa. Sorry you guys are having trouble. problems. That sucks.
Drag. I did find I have a habit of pushing a little too much, especially when I'm holding tight. So I have to release my grip, relax it a little bit, let it glide across the wood. And in these longer strokes, I have been using, because I got used to using pencil, graphite, I haven't had the habit in the past of using my shoulder to move, but in this case, it's worth giving it a try to have a smoother line. Just trying to make it look like some grain, because this area has already been burned in. It's going to require a little bit more heat. We're going to drag. I can angle it slightly just to get a little bit darker for that grain. But I have to be careful not go as dark as the cauldron. So we can see the difference in strokes because I was using very small oval strokes right up against the claw. We can see the difference. Drag. Now, what if you don't have a thin ruler? In order to, in other words, you're going to have to freehand a straight line. She can come in. We'll do it down further. I'm going to have to actually lower the heat because I don't want anything harsh. So down here we didn't go up against that line. I'm going to have to use... Roxy's like, I'm going to come talk to everybody. Alright, so I bumped down to 2.5. I need this to be a light burn. I'm actually going to turn my pen slightly to the right because that's where the line is. Touch down. Go right up against that line.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Right up against that line. Try to pull it out so it doesn't seem so harsh to your eyes. But I'm angling this tip and trying to use the shorter part of the top of the tip. Dragging my hand fully down. If you have a problem dragging your hand, check your surface. This is contact paper that's on my wood board, and it allows my hand to drag. And I do tend to pull out away from the line if I don't get right on it. Just so I don't get in the area that I want burned. Drag down. I did my lines pretty light, so a little harder to see. Drag it down. Oops. There is going to be some burning in here because it's not going to be a harsh white. So a little burning is totally okay. I need to back my head out because I tend to, as I burn, I get closer and closer and closer, and then things start getting blurry. I can always go back over things. So it still kind of looks like when we use the ruler. That looks harsher because it just burned it. So if I fill it in a little bit, based on I'm going to have to keep going over some areas. Now they're just going to go outside and bark. One of those days. I haven't filled in this side, so it kind of, I'd angled this way. So I used more of the tip, so it's darker. Drag. Luckily, I can go over this line. It's okay.
Come on. Okay.
Although I see that this burned a little lighter right here.
Morgan, let's go.
I'll darken it up.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Steady hand makes all the difference. I can see right here I wasn't right up close to the line. So I may have to go back with the ruler. If I've only got the glass, we can do that. Let's see here. Let me find my piece of glass. I'm going to have to hold it a funny way. There it is. I haven't pulled it out in a while. Children! I'm going to have to...
No! Shush. Work. Roxy, shush. Shh. Shush. Sorry.
I am so sorry. I didn't unmute. I am so sorry. Oh, gosh, is it one of those days? It's one of those days.
It's Halloween.
It's Halloween. It was a full moon last night. Or night before. Very careful dragging. Because what I was saying was the glass was slipping. And see, because I'm using the top half of the tip on just the angle, it's burning pretty dark. Take my time. I wanted to have the studio done by now so we could unveil it. But life keeps going. You want to do that? No. We have other plans.
Wanda says beautiful full moon. It was.
Absolutely.
Wait, does that mean it's new moon tonight?
No, new moon is going to be in 13, 14 days.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right.
So very slowly, right
Yeah,
up against the line.
If it was new moon suddenly, we'd be in trouble.
Why?
Because the physics behind that, like you go to a full moon and then it slowly gets smaller. That would mean that something shifted massively.
Oh.
Or the sun was gone.
No. Alright, dragging very slow. Right up against the line. Takes a little practice. A bit of deep breath. Let me see. I can angle this way while we're here. It doesn't feel as comfortable angling to the right. It feels better to shift my wood than it does to angle to the right, just because I'm so used to going this way, being right-handed. If you're left-handed, it might actually be easier to go to the right. That I don't know. I guess I should check with you.
What now?
On angling the pin. For me, angling to the left is easier than angling to the right because I'm going back against my hand versus away from my hand. See, this was pretty dark, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, because well, I'm left-handed, so
yeah.
The pin is angled off. The top is angled to the left, and the bottom of the pin is angled to the right.
See, and that's easier for you
that's
than
natural.
Yeah.
And if it's angled the opposite direction, I can't see my tip anymore.
Well, I can still see my tip.
hand's in the way, unless it's uncomfortable.
Well, because I'm on an easel.
Teresa says no sound.
Still?
What the heck?
I can see sound on.
Let me check.
Okay.
See if we're getting sound on the live. In all things, trying to.
Oh, Sheila's a lefty. He says it's easier to the right, so he heard me. So our audio is back. I'm actually gonna cut down.
Yeah, I'm getting sound.
Okay. The gremlins are cranky today. Granted, I was one of the gremlins. I'll own it. I'll own it.
I got sound. Okay, so if you guys are all having problems, it may be a YouTube issue. And if just some of you are having problems, it may be a local issue with your provider.
Yeah. Pull back a little
But
bit.
as always, like when we see more than, anybody who can't hear, we're going to immediately
check.
My job is to fly into action. The hubcap flies off the wheel and starts doing checks to make sure that sound is okay. I'm like your roadie. I gotta make sure that the scarves are tied on your camera.
I have no scarves on my camera. See, I went pretty dark here, so I'm trying to just blend it out a bit. Make it look like I did it on purpose, like it's part of the wood. Because this is the edge facing us.
Sheila says her sound or picture has not gone off once. Okay, cool.
Well, except for when I messed with the mic.
Yes.
Alright.
You good puppy? Yeah, you're good puppy.
I'm trying to think, what pin do I want? What pin do I want?
What is Mom doing?
She is making a mess.
What is Mom doing?
That's what she's doing. She is making a mess. I'm going to switch over to the large spare just so I can get through this quicker.
Yep, that's right, Wanda. Flew off and did my job. Rolled down the road, bounced off some trees.
So as you can see, it's a mess. It's a mess.
I got like 2 jobs here. One, fetch things that Valarie throws.
I haven't thrown anything in a long time. No, you don't fetch anything. Get
Really?
me in trouble.
And then
Not because I asked. Well, if I drop.
and do sound checks. So just I guess it could be refined to do your bidding, and then correct any issues. Hopefully.
So this is the 18 large.
I execute your dark will.
I'm pumping it up to 4. Just so we can get quicker. And because I went this dark here, that means I need to make sure the rest goes that dark. I need to darken up here underneath. I can feel that I have an indented line actually in the wood, like it burned the grain into itself. So I'm right up against it, kind of pushing it down so it doesn't grab my tip as much. But I have to darken this area to make the lines look like they're supposed to. Lift the tip.
See, Morgan, you came in and survived.
Drag down. Lift. All wood burners, all pins. Did I knock the camera sideways? I think I did. There we go.
Whoa! All right.
All pins need to reheat. They need to recover their heat, regardless of what is said.
Teresa says she's okay now. That was a while ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I muted. Because Roxy wanted to talk to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about all the barking when I let them out to go to the bathroom. Because they saw a person 2 houses down in their backyard. So like 200 meters away, they saw a guy walking around. And that was a threat.
How dare somebody else be in their own yard?
Somebody moving around in their line of sight.
All right.
Unacceptable.
So yeah, it's easier for me to turn to the right. Or to the left, sorry. So it's easier this way to be up against the line. You're going to have to work with your wood and see which way is the most comfortable. To see how dark this is, this part's going to have to go much darker. Unfortunately, there's only so dark it can go because it turns into charcoal. So I do have to darken underneath here because of how I did here. Because this is the edge. What are you doing? Oh.
She's sniffing you.
Under here we've got a shadow, so I don't have to worry about that.
What was that about?
But I will say it feels like the 18 large is more comfortable going up against the line. Because it's thicker, the grain doesn't grab it the same. Yeah. I need to check to see how it does with the ruler. But kind of already all filled in. So I would, out of all the pins I've tried, I feel this much larger spear shader actually works better. So turning slightly into it, taking my time. When I drag, I'm trying to look forward, not backwards. So I'm trying to see where my pin is going to go versus where it has already been. Because I can darken that. Ooh, I hate when my eyes bounce. So I have to look forward. I look to make sure I'm on the line. And then as I'm dragging, I look forward. Because again, I can always readjust later. The tonal value darken things. It'll stay a little more even the slower I go. But because even when I'm working upwards like I am right here, I'm still looking at, when I'm dragging, I'm looking down here not up here. I don't know if that helps anybody. Because if you feel like you've been having a problem doing a drag, I look where I'm going, not where I've been. I don't know. Hopefully that helps. So let's see here. We know this is, pull some heat. Following, looking down. Foot of my pen tip. Yeah, I'm gonna flip the board to get this side just easier. And I can try to blend it out. Line up. Look where I've been or where I'm going. And I can get a straight line that way without using a ruler at all. Let's see here. This is the outside of the cauldron. Just tap that in real quick. Follow, follow, follow that bottom area. Yeah, I actually really like this pen much better for what I'm doing.
What pen is that?
18 large.
18 large.
Oops. Follow, follow, follow. See, I went off a little bit there. I was talking, not following. Just gonna drag.
Wow.
And I'm moving my whole arm, not just my hand. So the ruler is easier if you're burning flat. If you're not burning flat, put this down so it's easier to see. If you're up on an easel, a slow drag is much easier. And see, my wood, even though I burned up to 400, is still really smooth, so it allows my hand to glide. See, this has gone real dark because of how I'm holding the pen. So everything's just going to have to go darker. Darker at the bottom. Darker. See, it's harder for me to get my pen up against there. Easier here. Oh, I hate when my eyes bounce. Anybody else have that problem? I'm pretty sure I'm like focusing too hard. And that's why my eyes are bouncing. I'm actually going to have to up the heat in order to even this out. See, at this angle, it's not as bad. It's just harder for me to follow what I'm doing. Whereas easier on the left side of the lines. If I stay to the left, it's much easier for me. I'm going to go up to 4.5 just so we can fill this in and try to straighten out the highlight. The highlight is going to get burned, just much lighter than the... See, I got a little crazy there. A little crazy. Trying to darken this. And completely flat, so it's going to burn lighter. If I go up on the tip. Now, if you don't have this pen, I'm trying to think most common tips that people have so they don't feel like they have to buy a new pen. I guess it's harder for me to make that recommendation if I don't know what people have. I don't like using a skew for this because I don't want it to be so embedded in the wood. What I can do is quickly tint the wood and then go back in with a smaller pen and fix it. Because right now, looks like we have a very big mess. It's nice and slow, even contact, meaning how I start with the pen is how I end with the pen. Trying to get right up against there. I feel if you take your time, it's actually easier to do it by hand without anything. We see how dark that is, so it just shows how much darker we gotta go everywhere else. Because I'm trying to darken up, I'm following the line I've already burned as much as I can. Drag slow and left. Drag slow and left. Follow the bottom part of the pen as you're dragging for that straight line. So now I know all this has to go darker, which is going to require a higher heat setting because this is all burned pretty good tonally. So I'm going to have to up the temperature. Interesting. The line on top looks thinner than line down here. Let's back out and look, because that means something is off. So we're going to back out and see it. Let's see. Angle this so you can see it straight on. This right here looks thinner than this. This looks like it needs to come up a little bit, and I think it's supposed to be more like this. Trying to look at my reference. Yeah, I need to go a little thinner on this side. So it's not that I'm so much off. I just need to bump up against that line a little bit more. All right, that tip has been reheating. So I'm actually just going to touch down in an area I've already burned, pull some heat, pull. I do find I have to hold my breath. And see, all this is going to have to go darker. But I'm right up against the line, dragging, catching myself, gripping my pen too tight, and pushing. See, if I lighten my touch, it burned darker. So I just have to hold my breath and take my time. And I don't need to use any tool outside my pen. I just have to slow it down. I would definitely say speed is your biggest friend. It's harder, like I said, for me to get this way. So I'm going to fill in, darken up some of this, remind myself to relax, and drag. Relax. I mean, even if I'm not on camera, I have to tell myself that, to relax. Because I get so focused that I'm just holding so hard. So now I can go back up against here. Relax. It's okay if it's not as smooth, because I wanted this to look like stained wood. Don't know how well I'm pulling it off, but that's how I envisioned it.
I think that whenever you're creating art, I think that it's really important to have a clear vision of what you're trying to do, because subconsciously, I mean, you can intentionally do something, but I think that the more tuned you are to whatever it is you're trying to recreate, the more intuitive it is, and the more it actually looks like the thing that you're trying to do. So, like, for instance, if you're like, well, I want to make marble, but if you don't have a clear idea of what marble looks like, you're not going to get there. You know, you're not going to be able to make that marble texture, because you don't understand what it is you're trying to achieve. The more that you understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, the closer you're going to get.
I'm going to turn down the heat. I'm turning down to 3. This is the top of the bottom of the window jamb. So this is where, if closed, the window comes together. I'm not going to use the ruler, but I am going to stick with the large. I want to say extra large. Now, the sky, I wanted more twilight, so that's why I'm pulling heat from the tip and going right up against that line, slowly dragging. See, when I'm just moving my wrist, I don't get as long of a drag. But this is a small area I'm doing. I am not going to worry about the tree branches. In fact, I can do this 2 different ways. I can quickly put in the tree branch to burn over it, or not worry about it. Touch down in an area I've already burned, pull some of that heat. I don't want it to be as dark. And I do want this to be more smooth, because it is the sky. Just slowly dragging right up against the line. Just drag. So what I mean by I don't normally do silhouettes, but because I do want this to be more of a twilight sky, I am going to need to do a silhouette for the tree branches, which is fine because they're supposed to be further in the distance. They don't have a whole lot of detail because we're just going to do a small area. And go with the small ball tip. I could even go with the 9M. Remember, with the ball tips, there's more metal at the end, so it takes a higher temperature to go a little darker. Like, these are really thin. Let me put the branch in first, because I do think I'm going to actually either have to use... See, it's harder to use the 18 small because they're all squiggly and what have you. So it might be the 9M. Yeah, see, this is... Did I grab my smallest tip? I did not. I grabbed the medium ball tip. Wrong pen. Thought that was a little much. Oops. Alright, let's try this again. See, we need a much smaller area. I need to zoom in for you guys. Let's see, does it look better if I zoom in with the camera physically? That may be too much. Too much. Put it down so you can see a little bit better. I'm just trying to see if this is a better way versus me moving the camera. We'll see.
I'm just letting you know we're coming up on an hour.
Oh. Alright. This is 3. I can always darken. So let's put in. And see, luckily, because these are silhouetted tree branches, they don't have to be perfect. Yeah, see, I can feel the ball tip kind of sinking in to the wood. I don't need like fully black. And I don't like how that's going. So what we're going to do, I'm going to switch over back to the extra small 18. I'm going to leave it at 3. Actually, I'm going to bump down to 2.5 because I know. Hey, baby, what you doing?
Checking on you, Mom.
Checking on me. It'll just be easier to drag. I can just use the tip, still small enough. Luckily, we don't need perfect tree branches. Tree branches are not perfect. I can get a little outside of my lines or inside. Get a little crazy with it. Let's see here. There we go. You can see I'm using the edge to get that thin stroke. Start at the base of it. For any tree branches, you start at the base of the thin tree branch because it will still always be thicker than after you've gone out and away. All right. So like these are thin. So I touch down at the thicker part of the branch, drag in, touch down, drag in. Down. A little too crazy with that. Now I'm going to need to thicken it up a little bit. Then we got a silhouetted tree branch. And if some of it's a little rough, it can just imply that it's the bark. So we're not going to worry about it. Quickly erase, and then I'm going to switch back over with the 18 large. Be careful not to erase any other. Let's see. I got all these pins laying around. I'm trying to find the best pins, least amount of pins to finish a piece. Alright. So I can leave it at 2.5 because that's, I believe, the setting I had for the 18. We'll move up here. There we go. And then I'm just gonna follow that line. Now with the sunset, it's darker at the bottom and lighter at the top. Or is it the other way? No, it's lighter at the bottom, darker at the top.
Yes, darker towards the stars.
Yeah.
Because when the stars start to come out, you're going to see them come out high in the sky, and then as the sun goes down further, you see more and more stars appear.
But we do know, because I went this dark here, that's what the rest of it needs to be. I'm a little off kilter. And I'm actually going to burn over my silhouettes. So it's actually easier. The Super Toasties have the pattern. It's actually easier to burn over the already burned branches versus trying to go around them. Now I'm trying to keep it nice and smooth. See, I just go right over them. And up here, it would be darker. Well, actually, because we're looking out of a window. Was I on screen at all? Let's see. Yeah, okay.
You were.
Okay, because...
You're getting close.
I was getting close. Okay, because we're looking out a window, we're not going to see the lighting difference on the horizon. Because we don't see the horizon. This is an up-close photo, so all of the background is going to be the same tonal value. So I got to keep that in mind. Now this line, like I said, I won't be adding white to this. I do have some very thin lines here that I would actually probably use the 18 small, but completely on its edge. I could also use the extra small. So let's darken this a little bit. So this highlight is going to be burned in. I think I'm too low. I'm going to bump up to 4. And that's because I'm going to touch down in a dark area and then move over. So I don't mess up and create a blob. I'm actually going to go flat. I just want to show the tonal value that I have in my head for this highlight. It's still going to be pretty dark compared to a light. I gotta remember, I gotta thicken that line up, touch down. So when I say highlight, this really is just a lighter area compared to here. Now we'll continue the public lives next week. Remember the time change for everybody who is falling back. I believe it's November 3rd. I need to check, make sure I'm not giving you the wrong information. I will post to update and just remind everybody of the time change. Arizona and Hawaii don't change. So when you guys fall back, it just means it's going to be an hour earlier than what it is today. Because I had thought about changing our time, but to be honest, I think that throws things off more.
Yeah.
What was different? How often did you job? Okay. I'm confused. I don't know. I'm confused.
About what?
I don't know the context of some of the comments. Alrighty. I'm actually hungry. I hope everybody has a happy and safe Halloween. We celebrate Samhain, so we shall be leaving a plate for our ancestors and handing out. I guess I gotta turn this so we can see a little bit. And handing out candy. Hopefully, it's supposed to be 35 degrees at 7 o'clock, so hopefully either they come earlier or they come very bundled up.
Yeah.
But I will be on the porch either way. And if not, I guess we get to keep the candy. Alrighty, so that's how I'm doing the straight lines. I will work as much as possible on this. I don't know what we will do next week, but I do feel that I owe everybody 4 lives at least on this one since life got crazy. There we go. Better adjusted a little bit. There we go. So that is my goal. We shall see if I meet that goal.
We will try.
We will. Oh, no, I'm talking about me. Where's the we in this? I don't have a puck. I don't have a mouse in my pocket.
I'm your hubcap. I will
you will what?
Assist you.
How?
By being here.
Oh, well, that's for the live. I'm talking about me getting work done on this.
Oh yeah, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't help me on that.
I do everything I can, so.
I gotta do it on my own. Don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're new, subscribe. And then say this with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Happy burning, guys.
Bye.
Happy